Steve Harvey lost it when a contestant said, "Black families aren't smart." And what happened next will shock you. For 3 years, Marcus Williams survived on the streets wearing borrowed clothes and a carefully constructed mask. He finally got his shot at redemption on Family Feud. But one man's cruelty would push Steve Harvey past the breaking point in a way nobody has ever seen before. This is the moment everything changed. Marcus Williams stands in the green room of the Family Feud studio, and everything about him is a lie. The shirt isn't his. The pants aren't his. The shoes, scuffed at the heel, carefully polished at the toe, they belong to a man he met at the shelter 3 weeks ago. Even the confidence he's about to walk out there with, that's borrowed too. Everything. Every single thing that makes him look like he belongs in this building is something he's borrowed, stolen, or carefully constructed to hide the truth. For 3 years, Marcus has been invisible. Not the kind of invisible where people don't see you. The kind where they see you and immediately look away. Where you become part of the scenery. Where your existence is an inconvenience they'd rather not acknowledge. The kind of invisible where you could be standing right in front of someone and they'd step around you like you're a piece of furniture. 3 years of sleeping in cars. 3 years of showering at community centers at 5 a.m. before the staff arrives, using water so cold it feels like knives. 3 years of pretending that the smell of desperation doesn't cling to every fiber of your being. 3 years of watching other people live their lives while you're stuck in some kind of purgatory where time moves differently. Slower, heavier, more painful. The worst part isn't the hunger. The worst part isn't the cold nights or the police telling you to move along or the way people clutch their purses when you walk by. The worst part is the silence. Nobody talks to you. Nobody sees you as a human being anymore. You become a ghost, a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when you fail. But today is different. Today, Marcus is stepping onto a stage where millions of people will see him. Not as a homeless man, not as a failure, not as someone society has already written off and forgotten about. They'll see him as a contestant, as a player, as someone who belongs in this room, as someone who matters. The thought of it makes his hands shake so badly he has to shove them in his pockets to hide the tremor. His family is here too. His sister Keisha, who hasn't spoken to him in 2 years because the shame was too much to bear. The shame of having a brother living on the streets. The shame of the questions from her friends, from her co-workers, from her own children asking, "Uncle Marcus, why do you smell like that?" 2 years of silence because it was easier than facing what had happened to him. His nephew Deshaun, who used to idolize him before everything fell apart. Deshaun used to follow Marcus around like he hung the moon, used to beg him to teach him how to be a man. And then Marcus lost his job, lost his apartment, lost everything. And suddenly he was the cautionary tale instead of the hero. His mother, Gloria, who cried when he told her he'd been selected for the show, cried so hard her whole body shook. Because she thought she'd lost him forever. Because she'd spent 2 years thinking her son was going to die on the streets and she'd never see him again. They don't know the full truth about how bad it's gotten. They don't know about the nights he spent under highway overpasses, listening to the traffic roar overhead, wondering if anyone would even notice if he just disappeared. They don't know about the time he went 5 days without eating because he was saving the food bank vouchers for other people who looked more desperate than him. And there were always people who looked more desperate. They don't know that he's been living in a van, parked behind a Walmart, for the last 8 months. A 2003 Honda Odyssey with a broken air conditioner and a sliding door that only opens from the outside. They don't know that he's been washing his clothes in gas station bathrooms and sleeping with one eye open because you never know who else might be out there in the dark. What they know is that Marcus is here, that he made it, that somehow, against all odds, their uncle, their brother, their son, is still fighting, still showing up, still refusing to completely disappear. And that's all that matters for today. Marcus adjusts the borrowed shirt one more time. It's a nice shirt, blue, crisp, the kind of shirt that says, "I have my life together." The kind of shirt that belongs on a man who sleeps in a bed instead of in a van. He tucks it in carefully, making sure every wrinkle is gone. He checks his reflection in the bathroom mirror. The man staring back at him looks almost unrecognizable. He looks healthy. He looks put together. He looks like someone who has his life figured out. He looks like someone who deserves to be on that stage. He looks like someone who belongs. The mask is perfect, but maintaining it is exhausting. It's like holding your breath underwater. You can do it for a while, but eventually you have to come up for air. Eventually the pressure becomes too much. Eventually something has to give. Marcus has been holding his breath for 3 years, and today he's going to have to hold it for however long this game takes. He doesn't know if he has that much air left in his lungs. A producer with a headset appears in the doorway. She's young, maybe 25, and she's looking at Marcus like he's a real person, like he matters. "Marcus, we're ready for you. You look great, by the way." "Thank you," he says. His voice is steady. The mask is holding. His heart is pounding so hard he thinks it might explode right here in the hallway. This is it. This is the moment he's been dreaming about since the day he got the call that he'd been selected. This is the moment where everything changes. This is the moment where he stops being invisible and becomes real again. This is the moment where his family gets to see that he's not completely broken, that he's still in there somewhere, that he's still fighting. He walks down the hallway toward the studio. The sound of the audience grows louder with every step. The lights get brighter. He can hear Steve Harvey's voice, warm, but charming, magnetic. The kind of voice that makes you feel like you're home. Welcoming the next family to the stage. His breathing gets shallow. His palms start to sweat. He wipes them on the borrowed pants, hoping nobody notices. And then the doors open. The lights hit him like a physical force. The audience erupts in applause. The energy is electric, intoxicating, overwhelming. It washes over him like a wave, and for a moment, just for a moment, he forgets about the van. He forgets about the hunger. He forgets about the 3 years of invisibility. For a moment, he's just a man on a game show. And that's enough. That's everything. For the first time in 3 years, Marcus feels seen, not pitied, not judged, seen, really, truly seen, like he exists, like he matters, like his life has value. Steve Harvey's face breaks into that famous smile when Marcus walks out. The smile that's been on television for decades. The smile that makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world. "Well, hello there. Come on over here." He extends his hand for a handshake, and Marcus takes it. Steve's grip is firm, genuine, warm. It's the kind of handshake that says, "I see you, I acknowledge you, you belong here." "What's your name, my friend?" Steve asks. "Marcus Williams," he says. His voice is steady. The mask is holding. His family is going wild in the audience. He can hear his mother screaming his name. "Marcus, I like that. Tell me, Marcus, what do you do?" This is the moment where the lie becomes real. This is where Marcus has to sell it. This is where the borrowed clothes have to convince everyone, including himself, that he's not a man who's been living in a van behind a Walmart. This is where he has to look Steve Harvey in the eye and pretend that his life is normal, that he has a job, that he has a home, that he has hope. "I'm a motivational speaker," Marcus says. It's not technically a lie. He's been speaking to other homeless people at the shelter, trying to keep their spirits up, trying to remind them that this isn't forever, trying to be the voice he needed when he was at his lowest point. When he was sitting in that van at 3 in the morning, wondering if there was any point in going on. When he was thinking about just driving off a bridge and ending it all because the pain was too much. Steve's eyes light up. "A motivational speaker. I love that. What's your message, Marcus? What do you tell people?" And Marcus says something that will haunt him for the rest of this day. That no matter what life throws at you, you can always come back. You can always rise above it. You can always win. The audience applauds. His family cheers from their seats. He can see his mother with tears streaming down her face. He can see Deshawn jumping up and down. He can see Keisha smiling, actually smiling, for the first time in 2 years. Steve pats him on the back like they're old friends, like they've known each other forever. "I believe that, Marcus. I absolutely believe that. That's powerful stuff right there." The mask is working perfectly. The lie is holding. Everything is going exactly according to plan. But what Marcus doesn't know, what nobody in that studio knows, is that someone is watching him differently. Someone has already decided that Marcus doesn't belong on that stage. Someone is about to test the boundaries of what they can get away with. Someone is about to make this day into a nightmare. Someone is about to destroy him on live television. And Marcus has no idea what's coming. The game starts with a roar. As Marcus takes his place at the podium, he feels the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The audience is clapping, cheering, and the excitement is palpable. Cameras flash all around him, capturing this moment. He can feel his family's pride radiating from the audience, almost like a warm blanket wrapping around him. This is his moment, and he's determined to make it count. Steve Harvey steps back into view, a charismatic grin plastered across his face. The iconic host knows how to work a crowd, and he's in his element now. "All right, folks, welcome back to Family Feud. Today, we've got 2 incredible families going head-to-head for a chance to win some serious cash and, more importantly, bragging rights. On my left, we have the Williams family." He gestures toward Marcus, and the audience erupts into applause again. "And on my right, we have the DeMarco family." The opposing family waves, and Marcus can see Daniel DeMarco, the man who will soon become his nemesis. Daniel stands tall, a confident smirk on his face that seems to suggest he's already won. He exudes an air of entitlement that makes Marcus's stomach churn. He's wearing a tailored suit, the kind that screams success, and he radiates an energy that feels predatory. Marcus tries to shake off the unease that settles in his gut. "Let's get this party started," Steve says, and the first round begins. The rules are straightforward. Answer the survey questions correctly and score points for your family. It's a game of instinct, quick thinking, and a bit of luck. Marcus finds himself in the zone, adrenaline pumping, as he buzzes in with the answers. The questions fly by, and with each correct response, he feels the confidence building inside him. The Williams family is dominating the early rounds. Each time Marcus answers correctly, he can hear his family cheering louder. They're no longer just spectators. They're part of this game. Each victory feels like a personal triumph, a step away from the shadows of his past. For the first time in a long time, he can see a path forward, a way to reclaim his life. But as the first round concludes, something shifts in the atmosphere. Marcus notices Daniel watching him closely, a predatory glint in his eye. It's unsettling, and Marcus can't shake the feeling that Daniel is sizing him up, as if he's already decided that Marcus doesn't belong here. "Great job, Williams family. You're in the lead," Steve announces, his voice booming with enthusiasm. But Marcus can't focus on the victory. He can feel Daniel's gaze burning into him. It's as if Daniel is waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The second round begins, and the questions get a bit tougher. As the game progresses, Daniel starts to open his mouth. At first, it's harmless banter, the kind of playful jabs that make the audience chuckle. But Marcus can't help but notice the edge in Daniel's tone. "Hey, Marcus," Daniel calls out, grinning widely. "You sure you're not just here to make us all feel better about ourselves? I mean, with that shirt, I thought I was the only one dressed for success." Laughter erupts from the audience. Marcus can feel his heart sink. "Come on, man," Steve interjects, trying to diffuse the tension. "Let's keep it friendly." But the damage is done. Marcus can feel the laughter cutting through him, a reminder of the mask he's wearing and how thin it really is. Marcus forces a smile, trying to brush it off. "Just trying to keep up with you, Daniel," he replies, hoping to turn the joke back around. The audience laughs again, but it doesn't feel as genuine this time. He can sense the shift. The laughter feels less like camaraderie and more like a knife, slicing into his carefully constructed facade. As the game continues, Daniel's comments become sharper. Each jab is like a punch to the gut. "Hey, Marcus, hope you're not just here for the free food," he quips, and the audience chuckles again. Marcus can feel the heat creeping up his neck. This isn't just a game anymore. It feels personal. It feels like Daniel is trying to tear him down piece by piece. But Marcus pushes through. He focuses on the game, answering questions with all the skill he can muster. He thinks about his family, about Keisha and Deshawn and Gloria, and how proud they must be. He can't let Daniel get to him. He won't give him that satisfaction. The third round begins, and the tension is palpable. The questions have become more difficult, and Marcus can feel the pressure mounting. As he buzzes in to answer, he glances at Daniel, who is leaning back in his chair, an air of smugness surrounding him. It's infuriating, but Marcus shakes it off. He can't let Daniel's arrogance derail him. But then, as the round progresses, Daniel's comments take a darker turn. "You really think you can compete with us, Marcus? I mean, let's be honest. Black families like yours probably aren't even smart enough to understand the game anyway," he says, and the audience falls silent. The words hang in the air like a heavy fog. For a moment, Marcus can't breathe. The laughter dies, replaced by a thick tension that seems to envelop the entire studio. The room feels colder, darker, as if the very air has shifted. Marcus's heart races, and he can feel the weight of the moment crashing down on him. He looks at the audience, searching for a glimmer of support. But all he sees are shocked faces, mouths agape in disbelief. He can feel his family's eyes on him, filled with a mix of horror and disbelief. Steve steps in, his demeanor changing instantly. Whoa, that's not how we do things here, Daniel." His voice is firm, cutting through the tension like a knife. "We're all about love and support on this show. Let's keep it respectful." Marcus takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The moment feels surreal. He can't believe what he just heard. How could Daniel say something so cruel, so callous, in front of millions of viewers? It's a blatant attack, and it shakes Marcus to his core. Daniel smirks, clearly unrepentant. "Just stating facts, Steve. No need to get all riled up," he replies, his tone dripping with sarcasm. The audience shifts uncomfortably, murmurs rippling through the crowd. Marcus feels the blood rush to his head. He wants to shout, to defend himself, to remind everyone that he's more than just a label. But words fail him. Steve turns back to Marcus, concern etched on his face. "You all right, Marcus? Don't let him get to you, man. You're doing great. Just keep your focus on the game." Marcus nods, swallowing hard. He can feel the mask slipping. The pressure is building, and he's afraid he won't be able to hold it together much longer. The game continues, but the atmosphere has shifted dramatically. The fun, playful banter that once filled the studio has been replaced by a heavy silence, punctuated only by the sound of the buzzer. As the final question of the round looms, Marcus knows he needs to dig deep. He can't let Daniel win, not like this, not after everything he's fought for. He can't let Daniel's words define him. This is his chance to show everyone, including himself, that he's more than the sum of his circumstances. "All right, Marcus. Last question for the round," Steve announces, bringing the focus back to the game. "Name something people do when they're trying to impress someone." Marcus buzzes in, his heart racing. Dress well." "Show me dress well," Steve calls out, and the board lights up. The answer isn't on the board, but the audience cheers anyway. Good answer," Steve encourages, trying to lift the mood. Marcus can feel a flicker of hope, but it's quickly overshadowed by Daniel's smug expression. Let's see how the DeMarco family answers. Steve turns to Daniel, who smirks as he buzzes in. "Show off their money." "Show me show off their money," Steve calls, and the answer lights up the board. The audience claps, but Marcus can see Daniel's satisfaction. The tension in the studio is electric, and Marcus knows he has to make this count. As they move into the final round, he can feel the eyes of the world on him. He can feel the weight of everything he's lost and everything he's fighting for. He's not just playing for himself anymore. He's playing for every single person who has ever felt invisible. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see who takes home the win, Steve announces, and the audience erupts into applause. Marcus steps back from the podium, breathing heavily. The adrenaline is still coursing through him, but now it's mixed with a sense of dread. The pressure is mounting, and he knows that Daniel isn't finished yet. As he walks off the stage, he can hear murmurs in the audience, people whispering about what Daniel said. He can feel the weight of their judgment. And for a moment, he wonders if he'll ever escape the shadows of his past. But then he remembers his family's faces. He remembers the pride in their eyes, the hope in their hearts. He can't let Daniel's words define him. He can't let anyone take this moment away from him. As the break comes to an end, Marcus steels himself. He knows he has to go back out there and finish what he started. He has to show everyone, not just Daniel, but the world, that he's more than the labels that have been placed on him. He's a fighter, and he's not done yet. The studio feels different when Marcus returns from the break. The energy has shifted. What was once electric and celebratory now feels charged with something darker, something more dangerous. The audience members are whispering to each other, stealing glances at Marcus, and he can feel the weight of their collective attention pressing down on him like a physical force. Word has spread about what Daniel said, and now everyone is waiting to see how this will unfold. They're waiting for the drama. They're waiting for the explosion. Steve Harvey stands at his podium, and Marcus can see the concern etched into every line of his face. Steve has been doing this for decades. He's seen a lot. But this is different. This is personal. This is cruel in a way that goes beyond the typical competitive banter of a game show. "Welcome back to Family Feud," Steve announces, his voice carrying a note of caution. "We're about to play the final round, and let me tell you, this game is anybody's game right now. Both families have a shot at winning this thing." The audience applauds, but it's muted. The joy has been sucked out of the room, replaced by an uncomfortable tension that nobody knows how to navigate. Marcus takes his position at the podium again. He can feel his hands trembling slightly, and he shoves them into his pockets to hide the movement. He's been through worse than this. He's slept in cars, he's gone hungry, he's been invisible. But somehow, this moment feels harder than all of that combined. Because this is happening in front of millions of people. This is happening on live television. This is happening in front of his family. The final round is called Fast Money. It's the most lucrative round of the game, where one family member at a time answers rapid-fire questions, trying to rack up as many points as possible. The questions come fast, and there's no time to think. You have to rely on your instincts, your gut feeling, your raw knowledge. It's the kind of round where you either shine or you crash and burn. "All right, Williams family, you're up first," Steve announces. "Marcus, you're going to be playing for your family. Are you ready?" Marcus nods, even though he's not sure he is. He's not sure he's ready for any of this anymore. Steve begins firing off questions rapid fire. "Name a reason you might call in sick to work." "Flu," Marcus answers. "Name something you might find in a man's wallet." "Money." "Name a type of dance." "Salsa." The questions keep coming, and Marcus keeps answering. He's doing well. He's keeping pace. The points are adding up, and for a moment, he lets himself believe that he can do this. He can win this game. He can show Daniel that he belongs here. He can show the world that he's not just some homeless guy playing dress-up. He's a real person with real value. But then, as the questions continue, he hears something from the audience. A laugh. Not a good-natured laugh. A cruel laugh. He glances over and sees Daniel, leaning back in his chair, shaking his head with a smirk on his face. The distraction costs him. He misses the next question, and the next one. His momentum is broken, and he can feel the confidence draining out of him like water through a sieve. By the time the round ends, he's scored decent points, but not as many as he could have. Not as many as he needed. "Great effort, Marcus," Steve says, trying to be encouraging. "Let's see what the DeMarco family can do." Daniel steps up to the podium with the confidence of a man who has never known defeat. The questions come at him, and he answers them with ease. He's smooth, he's quick, he's everything Marcus isn't right now. And with each correct answer, Marcus can feel the hope slipping away. When Daniel's round ends, he's scored significantly more points than Marcus. The DeMarco family is now in the lead. "Looks like we've got ourselves a game," Steve announces. "We're going to go to sudden death. Both families get one more chance to answer questions, and whoever scores the most points wins the game." The audience erupts into applause, but Marcus barely hears it. He's focused on Daniel now, watching the way he's looking at him. There's something predatory in that gaze, something that suggests Daniel isn't done yet, that this isn't just about winning a game. This is about something more. This is about proving a point. This is about putting Marcus in his place. The sudden death round begins, and it's tense. Both families are answering questions, both are scoring points, and the lead keeps changing hands. Back and forth, back and forth. The audience is on the edge of their seats. This is what they came for. This is the drama, the excitement, the unpredictability of live television. And then, during a break between questions, Daniel leans forward and says something to Marcus. His voice is low, meant only for Marcus to hear, but the microphones pick it up. The words are quiet, but they're unmistakable. You know what your problem is, Marcus? You're trying to pretend you're something you're not. You think that shirt makes you a real person? You think being on this show means you've made it? You're still just a... He stops mid-sentence, but the damage is done. The audience gasps. The studio goes completely silent. Even the background music seems to cut out, as if the entire world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next. Steve's face goes pale. His jaw clenches. And for the first time in decades of hosting this show, Steve Harvey looks genuinely angry. Daniel, Steve says, his voice low and dangerous, I'm going to stop you right there. Daniel tries to laugh it off, as if he was just joking. But Steve isn't having it. Steve steps out from behind his podium, and the audience realizes that something extraordinary is about to happen. Steve Harvey, the man known for his warmth and his humor, is about to lose it. You know what? Steve says, his voice rising. I've been doing this show for a long time, and I've seen a lot of things. I've seen families come on here and celebrate together. I've seen people bond over games and laughter. But I have never, and I mean never, seen someone come on this show and try to tear another person down the way you've been doing to Marcus. Daniel's smirk fades. He looks uncomfortable now, like he didn't expect this, like he thought he could get away with it. Marcus came on this show to play a game with his family. Steve continues, his voice filled with emotion. He came on this show to have a moment of joy, to create memories with the people he loves. And you came on this show to make him feel small, to make him feel like he doesn't belong, to make him feel like he's less than human. Steve pauses. Marcus can see that the host is struggling with his emotions. He can see the genuine anger, the genuine disappointment, the genuine hurt in Steve's eyes. But here's the thing, Steve says, pointing directly at Daniel. I don't know Marcus's full story. I don't know where he comes from or what he's been through. But I know this. He's a human being. He deserves respect. He deserves dignity. And he sure as hell doesn't deserve to be treated like this on my show. The audience erupts into applause. It's thunderous, overwhelming, a wave of support that crashes over Marcus like a tidal wave. He can feel tears forming in his eyes, but he blinks them back. He can feel his family's pride radiating from the audience, stronger than ever before. Steve turns to Marcus, and his expression softens. Marcus, I want you to know something. Whatever you've been through, whatever challenges you've faced, you matter. You belong here. And nobody, and I mean nobody, gets to tell you otherwise. Marcus nods, unable to speak. The words are stuck in his throat, caught between gratitude and grief, between hope and despair. Steve turns back to Daniel, and his voice is ice. As for you, Daniel, I think you should take a long look in the mirror and ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. Because right now, you're not looking very good. The audience boos. They're angry now. They've turned on Daniel completely. What started as a game show has become something else entirely. A moment of reckoning. A moment where someone is being held accountable for their cruelty. The producers are scrambling. The director is probably panicking. This isn't how game shows are supposed to go. This isn't part of the script. But Steve doesn't care. He's done something that few people in his position would ever do. He stood up for someone who couldn't stand up for himself. He's used his platform, his voice, his power to defend the defenseless. "Let's finish this game," Steve says, his voice steady now. "And let's do it with some respect for everyone involved." The final questions are asked, the final answers are given, and when the dust settles, the Williams family has won. They've won not because they were the smartest or the quickest, but because they played with integrity, because they played with heart, because they played with the kind of character that Daniel clearly lacks. As the audience celebrates, Marcus can feel something shifting inside him. The mask isn't completely gone. It will take more than one moment of vindication to erase 3 years of invisibility. But for the first time in a long time, he doesn't feel like he needs to hide. For the first time in a long time, he feels like he can breathe. His family rushes onto the stage, and they embrace him. His mother is crying. Keisha is smiling. Deshawn is jumping up and down, screaming with joy. And Marcus, standing in the center of this moment, surrounded by the people he loves, finally allows himself to feel something other than fear. Steve approaches him and they shake hands. But this time it's different. This time it's real. Steve pulls him into a hug, and Marcus can feel the sincerity in the gesture. He can feel that Steve actually cares, that Steve sees him, that Steve believes in him. "You did good, Marcus," Steve whispers. "You did real good." The applause fades, but the adrenaline still courses through Marcus's veins. He can hardly believe what just unfolded in front of him. The thrill of victory is almost overwhelming. But it's mixed with a realization that this moment is only the beginning. He stands on the stage, soaking in the cheers, the support, and the acceptance from his family and the audience. For the first time in years, he feels something akin to hope. A flickering light in the darkness that has surrounded him for so long. As the cameras stop rolling and the show wraps up, Steve Harvey approaches Marcus again, his demeanor shifting from the energetic host to a concerned friend. "You all right, Marcus?" he asks, his voice low and sincere. "Yeah, I think so," Marcus replies, a smile breaking through despite the whirlwind of emotions. I didn't expect that to happen." Steve nods, understanding lighting up his eyes. "It's tough out there. People forget that there's a real human being behind the story. But you held your own, man. You showed everyone that you're more than just a label." Marcus feels a swell of gratitude. "Thank you for standing up for me," he says. "It meant a lot." "Anytime," Steve responds, clapping Marcus on the back. "You're a fighter, and I respect that. Keep that fire burning." As the crew begins to dismantle the set and the audience files out, Marcus's family surrounds him. Keisha is beaming, her arms wrapped tightly around him. "I'm so proud of you, Marcus. You were amazing up there." "Did you see how you handled Daniel?" Deshawn adds, eyes wide with admiration. "You didn't let him get to you at all." Marcus chuckles, the warmth of their praise washing over him. "I tried my best, but it was Steve who really came through." Gloria steps forward, her eyes glistening with tears. "You did it, Marcus. You really did it. I always knew you had it in you." The weight of her words settles in his chest, and for the first time in a long time, he feels like he stepped back into the light. The shadows of his past aren't gone, but they feel less suffocating now. As they leave the studio, the reality of what's next begins to sink in. Winning the game show has brought them a cash prize, but it's more than that. It's the promise of a fresh start. Marcus can feel the momentum shifting in his life. He can't go back to the way things were. He won't. Outside, the sun is shining brightly, illuminating the world in a way that feels almost surreal. It's a stark contrast to the darkness he's been living in. As they walk to the parking lot, Marcus can't help but feel the weight of possibility pressing down on him. "Where to now?" Keisha asks, her tone teasing but filled with sincerity. "You're the big winner now. You should take us out for dinner." Marcus laughs, but the thought of a celebratory dinner stirs something deeper inside him. "Actually, I was thinking we could do something a little different. How about we go to the shelter where I've been volunteering? I want to show my appreciation for everything they've done for me." Gloria's eyes soften. "That's a wonderful idea, Marcus. Giving back is the best way to celebrate." As they drive toward the shelter, Marcus reflects on how far he's come. The van he's been living in is still parked behind Walmart, but now it feels like a temporary stop rather than a permanent home. He's determined to find a place of his own, somewhere he can rebuild his life and start anew. When they arrive at the shelter, the atmosphere is warm and welcoming. The staff recognizes Marcus immediately, their faces lighting up with surprise and joy. "Marcus, you're back." Sarah, one of the staff members, exclaims, rushing over to him. "We saw you on Family Feud. You were incredible." "Thanks, Sarah. I wanted to bring my family to celebrate and give back a little." Marcus replies, his heart swelling with pride. The kitchen is bustling, filled with volunteers preparing meals for the evening. The familiar scents of spices and baked bread wrap around him like a comforting embrace. Marcus can already see familiar faces, people he's met during his time volunteering. "Hey, everyone," he calls out, drawing their attention. "I'm back, and I brought my family with me." Cheers erupt as people gather around, curious to see what's happening. They can sense the change in Marcus. They can see the light in his eyes. "Marcus won on Family Feud," someone shouts, and the room erupts in applause. "Congratulations," another volunteer says, pulling him into a hug. "You deserve it, man." As the evening unfolds, they share food, laughter, and stories. Marcus introduces his family to everyone, and it feels surreal to share this part of his life with them. He watches as Keisha and Gloria connect with the staff, realizing how much this place means to him. "Thank you for taking care of my brother," Keisha says earnestly to Sarah. "I didn't realize how much support he was getting here." "We're just doing our best," Sarah replies, her smile warm. But Marcus? He's the real inspiration. He's always looking out for others, even when he was struggling himself. The words resonate deeply within Marcus. As he looks around the room, he sees not just people who have faced hardships, but also a community that lifts one another up. It's a reminder that he's not alone, that he never has to be alone again. As the night winds down, Marcus feels a sense of peace wash over him. The laughter, the camaraderie, the support. It fills the void he's been carrying for so long. "All right, everyone, let's take a moment to celebrate," Marcus announces, raising a glass of water. "To new beginnings, to family, and to the strength we find in each other." Everyone raises their glasses, echoing his sentiment. To new beginnings. The moment is powerful, and Marcus can feel the weight of it settling in his heart. He takes a deep breath, allowing the joy and hope to envelop him fully. This is what it means to be alive. This is what it means to have a family, both the one you're born into and the one you choose. As the evening comes to a close, Marcus steps outside for a moment of fresh air. The night sky is clear, the stars twinkling above him like a million tiny promises. He thinks about the future, the possibilities that lie ahead. He can almost feel the weight of the universe shifting in his favor. But then he hears a voice behind him. "Marcus." He turns to see Daniel walking toward him, flanked by a couple of friends. The swagger is back, the arrogance that had been so infuriating during the game show. Marcus feels a knot tighten in his stomach. "What do you want, Daniel?" Marcus asks, trying to keep his voice steady. Daniel smirks, his eyes glinting with a mixture of condescension and amusement. "I just came to congratulate you on your little win. Didn't think you'd actually pull it off." Marcus clenches his jaw. "Thanks, I guess. But let's be real for a second," Daniel continues, leaning in closer. "You know this doesn't change anything, right? You're still just a homeless guy playing dress-up. You're still not one of us." The words cut through Marcus like a knife. All the progress he's made, all the hope he's found, feels threatened by Daniel's cruel taunts. But he refuses to let Daniel's words define him. He's not that man anymore. "Actually, I'm more than just a label," Marcus replies, his voice firm. "I'm a person with dreams and a family that loves me. You can't take that away." Daniel raises an eyebrow, a mocking grin plastered across his face. "Dreams? You really think you can just walk away from being homeless? You think a game show is going to change your life?" Marcus takes a deep breath, steadying himself. "I don't need your validation. I know who I am, and I know where I'm going. You can keep your insults. They don't mean anything to me." Daniel's smirk falters for a moment, and Marcus can see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. But then he quickly regains his composure. "Enjoy your little celebration, Marcus. Just remember, people like you don't belong in the spotlight." With that, he turns on his heel and walks away, his friends trailing behind him. Marcus watches them go, feeling a surge of strength wash over him. For the first time, he realizes that Daniel's words hold no power over him. They are echoes of a past he's leaving behind. As he re-enters the shelter, he feels lighter. The support of his family and the community wraps around him like a warm embrace. He may not have all the answers yet, but he knows he's on the right path. "Hey, everything okay?" Keisha asks, noticing the change in his expression. "Yeah, I'm good," Marcus replies, a genuine smile breaking through. "Just had a little chat, but I'm ready to move forward. No looking back." As they finish cleaning up, Marcus feels a sense of purpose solidify inside him. He's going to take this opportunity to rebuild his life, one step at a time. He's going to find a place of his own, start a new job, and become the man he's always wanted to be. But most importantly, he's going to help others along the way. He's going to use his experience to lift others out of their darkness. He's going to remind them that no matter how dire the situation, there's always hope. As the last dishes are washed and the shelter begins to quiet down for the night, Marcus gathers his family for one final moment together. The warmth of their presence surrounds him, infusing him with confidence. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he says, his voice steady. "For believing in me, for standing by my side. I couldn't have done this without you." Gloria wipes away a tear, her pride evident. "You've always been strong, Marcus. We just needed to remind you of that." "Let's keep reminding each other," Marcus says, his heart swelling with gratitude. "We're in this together." As they embrace, Marcus feels the weight of his past lift just a little more. The path ahead is still uncertain, but now he knows he has the strength to face it. He has a family that loves him, a community that supports him, and the fire within himself to keep pushing forward. Together, they step out into the cool night air, ready to embrace whatever comes next. Marcus feels a renewed sense of purpose after his win on Family Feud. With the cash prize, he decides to find an apartment, eager to reclaim his independence. On a sunny Tuesday, he and Keisha visit a cozy apartment that feels like home, and he signs the lease, excited about this new chapter. After moving in, Marcus reflects on how far he's come. He's no longer homeless. He has a place of his own. With Keisha's encouragement, he starts looking for a job and applies at a local nonprofit that helps the homeless. During the interview, he shares his story passionately, and soon after, he receives the job offer. As he begins working, Marcus organizes workshops to empower others facing similar struggles. One day, inspired by Keisha, he decides to host a charity event for the shelter where he once lived. The event is a resounding success, raising significant funds and strengthening community bonds. Months pass, and Marcus continues to thrive, eventually publishing a book about his journey. The launch day is emotional, filled with friends, family, and supporters. He shares his message of resilience and hope, reminding everyone that they can change their stories. As he speaks at various events, Marcus never forgets his roots. He remains involved with the shelter, volunteering regularly. At an annual fundraiser, he inspires attendees by sharing his journey and emphasizing that they have the power to overcome their circumstances. With gratitude and determination, Marcus embraces the future, ready to continue making a difference for others. As Marcus thrives in his new life, his work at the nonprofit and the success of his book bring him joy. However, he faces new challenges when the shelter that supported him experiences funding cuts. The director, Sarah, reaches out for help, and Marcus immediately offers to speak at a fundraising event. With Keisha's assistance, he organizes the fundraiser, gathering community support and donations. On the night of the event, Marcus passionately shares his story, emphasizing the importance of the shelter. The crowd responds generously, raising more funds than expected. Despite this success, Marcus learns that his job is in jeopardy due to budget constraints. Determined to stay proactive, he explores freelance opportunities and begins mentoring individuals at the shelter. He discovers a passion for coaching and organizes workshops to help others find their voices. While mentoring a young man named Jake, Marcus identifies his potential, and they collaborate to launch a community outreach program focused on mentorship. With support from the shelter, the program empowers participants to change their lives. Through these challenges, Marcus learns to adapt and finds fulfillment in the relationships he's built. He reflects on his journey, realizing that he's not just surviving, he's thriving and making a difference. With renewed purpose, he shares updates about the outreach program with his followers, excited about the possibilities ahead.